Welcome to another episode of Keeping Up with Congress and your second stimulus check. Hope you are doing well today. In today's update, we'll quickly go through where things currently stand with the $2.2 trillion stimulus plan from the Democrats. So, right now, it does appear that there's no deal in sight. And for that reason, the House Democrats are set to pass their own stimulus bill despite the ongoing stimulus talks with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, according to this report from Newsweek. So the House of Representatives, they're basically on track right now to vote this evening on a $2.2 trillion stimulus bill that will provide some more funding to critical sectors and provide another stimulus checks to struggling Americans, and as well as put the $600 weekly unemployment benefit in the pockets of unemployed Americans during this period. So, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin has presented a counteroffer, a $1.6 trillion counteroffer from the White House. And this plan is also inclusive of the second stimulus check. So, the second stimulus check at $1,200 per adult and $500 for dependents is also included in Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin's plan. But the weekly unemployment benefit has been reduced to $400 per week. So let's quickly dive into what a top House Republican is saying about this $400 per week. So, Representative Kevin Brady of Texas, a top House Republican, has criticized the $400 in weekly federal unemployment benefits. And he's basically saying that this is wasteful spending and he's not in agreement with the White House stimulus plan. This is not an encouraging news because we are supposed to be seeing the White House representing the Republicans in these very stimulus talks with the Democrats. During the first stimulus negotiations, we did see White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin negotiating with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on behalf of the Republicans. But right now, we are seeing some GOP members basically saying that the spending or the stimulus that we're seeing, the plan we're seeing from the White House is wasteful spending, and this is not a good sign. This is not encouraging at all. We need more support from both sides. So the White House has put this plan forward, and the Democrats have not yet accepted it. But the opposition from the Republicans, hopefully, we are hoping the opposition from the Republicans will not sway anything the wrong way, right? So this is exactly what Kevin Brady said. So Kevin Brady said the worry is how much wasteful spending we will have to swallow to do this. This is what he said on Fox Business interview today. So again, let me know your thoughts about the $400 per week in federal benefits. Do you think Kevin Brady is right? Is the $400 per week in federal unemployment benefit a wasteful spending? Or do you think the $600 federal benefit is something that the Democrats are pushing for? Do you think that the $600 weekly benefits should be kept or should be passed to help tens of millions of unemployed Americans during this period? So let's quickly dive into a press conference from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today. So House Speaker Nancy Pelosi held her press conference, and during this press conference, some very important points were highlighted. So let's go through the press conference together, and you can see for yourself the key points that were made in this very press conference. We won't go through the whole thing. I will leave the link to this in the description section below just in case you want to read the entire thing. But let's go through and highlight the key points that you deserve to know about. So the reporter does ask a very important question here, and the first question that he or she asks is, can you tell us what to expect in these negotiations over the next 24 hours? Will you meet again with the secretary? Will the House vote on the new HEROES bill? So here's the thing. This is exactly what we've all been wondering. When can we expect the negotiations to be over? We've been hearing about the stimulus and the stimulus and the stimulus, but nothing has happened yet. No agreement, no deal in sight. So this report is specifically asking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi when to expect a stimulus negotiation to be over. And she says, he or she says, will this be over in 24 hours? So let's see what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi responded. So Pelosi says, well, I'm hoping the House will vote on the new HEROES bill because really it is important for people to see what we that we completely identify with the concerns that they have and how we have allocated the resources necessary to get the job done. We've come down $1 trillion as a compromise to begin with. We then went further down to another $200 billion. As I said earlier, not undermining our priorities, but realigning some things in terms of the timetable, how long they would last. So nothing really specifically answers the question if we're going to see the negotiations over in the next 24 hours. Pelosi just says again that they've come down $1 trillion and they're asking them to meet them halfway. The same thing we've been hearing all along, right? So I want to hear your thoughts about this very statement from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She does go on and on with other responses here, but those are not relevant to the question as far as I'm concerned with this report. So the next question here that the reporter asks is these negotiations between you and the administration have been going on for a couple of months now. Do you see this round of the negotiations as the last chance to get something done before election? Yes. Finally, someone is actually asking Speaker Pelosi about whether we're going to see something before the elections. So is this the last chance to see something before the election? That's what millions of Americans, struggling Americans, are wondering right now, because we've been hearing about the stimulus talks and we've seen them going on for a couple of months. We saw in August the stimulus gridlock and nothing happened. Now September is over. This is a new month of October and we still don't know if this is the last chance to see something before November. So let's see what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said. So Pelosi said they have, with all due respect, they haven't gone on for. We had them early on and there's been a pause, and now they've called and say they are ready to talk again. I'm hopeful they can produce something. I never say this is the last chance until election day, although that's 33 days away. So still not responding to the question or the answer in a way that gives us an actual basis or gives us clarity on what to expect. So House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asked if this is the last chance to get something done before the election, and she's saying she's hopeful they can produce something. We've heard this before, and she's also saying that she can never say that this is the last chance until election day. So we are 33 days away from the election, as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi clearly stated in this response. But it does seem like she's defending the position that the position or the response that the stimulus talks haven't gone on for a couple of months. Clearly, we know they had this going on in the summer and then there was a pause. But right now, we haven't seen any action. We haven't seen any progress on the stimulus negotiations. So she goes further to say, even if we come to an agreement on language and money, the constructive, we are pretty ready because the HEROES Act had its structure, had its leg, council approvals, had the CBO scoring and that. But when there are changes, there are changes in that, but still takes time. So there are changes that take time. That's what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is saying. So this basically is up for interpretation. So you can interpret this the way you want, but again, this is what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is saying. She didn't really give any specific response as to if these stimulus negotiations will be the last chance to get something done before November. We're all hoping they get something done as soon as possible and before November. Then the very last question that I want to highlight here from the reporter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is, you keep saying you are hopeful. I guess the cynic in me says why. It doesn't seem like they are moving at all towards your position, at least from what we can see publicly. So they, meaning the Republicans or the White House negotiators. So here's what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi responded to that. Because of the needs of the American people, I just think at some point they'll have to know that the American people have these needs. And the fact that is we are 4.5 months from when we passed the HEROES Act. We are 3.5 months until we get sworn in as new Congress, closer to a new Congress, less than 4 months in time when we inaugurate a new president of the United States. So we are getting ready for what comes next, but we need stuff now. We need stuff now. We need to get stuff going now. We need an agreement now. Not just stuff. What stuff? We need an agreement right now.
Again, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. While we wait for Congress to finalize the next stimulus package, you may have to pick up a side hustle or a side gig to get some cash or make some extra money from home. Be sure to check out the video on the left to discover the one-of-a-kind website that pays you hundreds to thousands of dollars to just read out loud. This is a free, simple, and exclusive side hustle, and in this video, you'll discover the step-by-step process to get started today. And if you want the best-kept secret to increase your credit score fast, check out the video on the right. Don't forget to help others find this video quicker by liking this video and sharing it. And also, be sure to subscribe now as we track the latest progress on the next stimulus package. See you in the next update. Be safe and thank you for watching.